Following is paid for by the People's National Party.
Good evening, my fellow Jamaicans. Education and training are in safe hands under the administration of the People's National Party. Any fair observer will agree that education and training are outstanding areas of achievement by this administration. I really want to acknowledge the support of Prime Minister Simpson Miller and the whole of the Cabinet, and I also pay respect to the sincere efforts of the previous administration to achieve transformation in education. However, when we assumed office in 2012, the education system was generally underperforming despite huge investments by parents, teachers, and successive governments. We determined that it could not be allowed to remain that way, and that improving this would be one of the defining tasks of this administration. So we set about identifying areas of priority where transformation could not be postponed. Now, science tells us that early childhood is the most critical period of anyone's life. So we have doubled the number of qualified early childhood teachers, and we'll double this amount again during the next 3 years. Our goal is to have every one of your children taught by a trained teacher in their early childhood years. Also, we have built more than 120 new early childhood institutions along with our partners, private and public, and we have upgraded a further 100 of them. Never before in the history of Jamaica has there been such a large and sustained investment in our youngest children. When I reported to Portia and Peter our findings that hunger was preventing large numbers of students from learning, they approved, even with a tight budget, an unprecedented expansion of the school feeding program. We are now providing 128,000 of the little ones with a nutritious breakfast and lunch. Further, the number of students being served by the school feeding program swells to about 300,000 when we account for the provision of lunches to PATH beneficiaries 5 days a week at the primary and secondary level. We are also using more and more local produce, more fruits, a locally manufactured porridge, and our own chicken meat, so that farmers can earn more even as their children eat better. When we came to office in 2012, there were 222 schools with pit latrines. Portia Simpson Miller, a caring Prime Minister whose heartbeat is not for highlight for herself, but for the needs of people like those from Woodhall, from where she comes. She instructed me to ensure that the dignity of all Jamaican children be uplifted from that condition. Most pit latrines have been replaced, and by later this year, every school will have flush toilets. That's strong leadership. It's a promise kept. In 2012, there were 107 primary and secondary schools operating on the shift system. We have now removed more than half of them from shift. That means that our students have almost 2 hours more a day to learn and to play. And our commitment is to totally and finally abolish the shift system from Jamaica during our next term. We're well on the way. Over 4 years, we have provided more suitable learning conditions by building 6,000 additional classrooms and laboratory spaces. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the results. All the trends of examination results are improving. You know, it gave me great joy when we surpassed the grade 4 literacy target in 2015. And we're pleased that the numeracy rate has moved 20% in 4 years, upwards. This is the biggest jump ever. And we are making progress to achieve full mastery by 2018. We're also having success in breaking through the chronic fear of mathematics. CSEC math passes have increased significantly, 3 years in a row now. And by year after next, every young person will finish school with certification in English, mathematics, and at least a marketable skill. Civics is now back in schools. Lifestyle lessons from Garvey and the other national heroes are being taught alongside wholesome health and family life lessons. To all our children, they are learning better to be proud about their heritage, their identity, and their destiny. And they're also learning about responsibility in their personal relations. I want now to talk to you about the cost of education. You know, the largest share of every Jamaican budget after paying down the national debt goes to education. It's about $80 billion this year. This cannot fund everything. And that's why parents, churches, businesses, and everyone are asked to contribute according to their means. But no child is being denied access for want of money. That is the solemn commitment of this administration. No child is being denied access or services in school because his or her parents cannot make a requested contribution. Promises of freeness for everything without saying where the extra billions and 10 billion and more will come from each year are irresponsible. More money from the budget?
Paid for by the People's National Party.
Good evening, my fellow Jamaicans. On February the 25th, we go to the polls to select the team that will form the government of our country for the next 5 years. This evening, I'd like to speak to you about the management of our tourism sector over the past 4 years and our plans for its future development. Many of you will know that the tourism sector has been enjoying tremendous success. In 2014, we welcomed more than 2 million stopover visitors for the first time in our history. Last year was a bumper year in terms of arrivals, as we surpassed that number with the arrival of 3.65 million stopover and cruise visitors. As tourism is our chief source of foreign exchange earnings, this record-breaking performance has had a major positive impact on our economy. We have created a sound economic framework that has strengthened investor confidence and prompted investment in our sector of some $64 billion from local and foreign investors over the past 4 years. As we speak, some 2,500 new hotel rooms are under construction in Jamaica. Among these are the Sensatori and Grand Lido in Negril, Breathless and the Decameron and Rio in Montego Bay, the Royalton in Trelawney, and Bahia Principe in Runaway Bay. We are now seeing a level of investment in tourism never before experienced in Jamaica. During the next 10 years, over 10,000 new rooms are slated to be built. This ongoing expansion is indicative of the confidence of investors in not only the economy of Jamaica, but also the future success of our tourism sector. These projects will generate thousands of new jobs for workers during the construction phase and thousands more permanent jobs after the properties open. We are going to need trained workers with the necessary skills to fill all these new jobs in the construction and post-construction phases. In preparation for this, I've already met with Minister Thwaites and the team from the Ministry of Education, as well as the Heart Trust NTA. All participants will be trained and certified to international standards. Areas of training will include artisans, tilers, welders, master carpenters, masons, and many more. The future of our tourism sector is brighter than ever before. This is of great significance, but while the sector is performing well, the true success of tourism depends on the positive impact it has on a wide cross-section of the Jamaican people and on the Jamaican economy. To this end, we have initiated a number of new programs, and I'd like to highlight 4 of them. First, I want to talk about the linkages program. The truth of the matter is that real success must be measured by the extent to which the achievements of having thousands of new rooms constructed, more people than our entire population, can be translated into ensuring that the goods and services they utilize originate in Jamaica. This would mean that Jamaicans would earn the money that is flowing out of the country when these goods and services have to be purchased overseas. All the agricultural produce, vegetables, fruits, meats, provide an opportunity for our farmers. Every bed, every curtain, every uniform, every piece of furniture present an opportunity for Jamaican business. To this end, we formed a linkages hub in the Ministry of Tourism and Entertainment and appointed a linkages council. The council's initiatives have been extremely successful. I have to commend its chairman and its members who represent the tourism sector, the manufacturers, the agriculture, and the entertainment sectors. Its work has been groundbreaking. The Demand Study we commissioned shows that Jamaicans can earn an estimated $70 billion per year from this.